Simon, good to see you. Glad to meet you in this meeting.
Robert, delighted to have the opportunity to bring you up to date. So good to see you too.
So Simon, you are chair of the NCI Committee. What from your end would be the main achievements of your committee in the last year?
I think I'm really pleased with the progress on the NCI project. It's the fourth year, as you know, that we've focused on using the NCI. And for me, it is the spread of data that we have across the IMCs, which this year is particularly strong. The collective footprint of the IMCs within the ICMCI is we account for around about 80% of the world's management consulting sector. And this is the first year with the NCI project when we've had the majority of IMCs contributing data and insight. And that for me is particularly strong.
Very good. Now, what is, from your perspective, what is the main impact of the NCI to our members, the institutes?
I think there are two things. Firstly, it enables the ICMCI to speak with greater authority about the perspective of management consulting worldwide, because we have a reasonably strong estimate on the size of the market. We also have a reasonably strong understanding of the main drivers of change. And we have in place a methodology which we can continue to build the data around next year and the year after. For the IMCs themselves, it is that similar perspective. We now have a stronger engagement, I would suggest, this year than last year with IMCs and the trends of their own markets, as well as the size. So for an IMC, I think it's important and very valuable to members and for the IMC to speak knowledgeably about the trends, dynamics, structure, and size of their own markets. And that's what the project is year on year increasingly delivering.
That sounds very easy and logic, but did you face any challenges to do that?
The main challenges, and it's a very practical challenge, is a twofold. One is methodology. And to do any form of research, you have to figure out a methodology that's going to be robust and also practical and make assumptions around it. And we've been able to use some very strong reference data with very clear assumptions behind it as a platform for the NCI data quantitatively. And we've also been able to refine and further develop the equation that leads us to an NCI National Consulting Index estimate. So we've used a high level of statistical analysis this year than we've been able to in the past. But the biggest challenge, and this is my thanks to all the IMCs who are able to contribute and be part of this project, is we're all very busy people. And so when myself and the team in ICMCI asks for information, it is another thing for IMCs to do. And the requests weren't easy. So to ask people to have a view on the size of their markets in US dollars and to have a view of what's happening in those markets, and for that review to be robust enough that they're able to say, this is the understanding of not me, the individual, but the IMC. That's quite a major request. And as I said, I'm delighted that the majority of IMCs within the ICMCI were able to support that. So the two challenges were, one, the research assumptions and the refinement of the model. But the main challenge, and thank you to the participating IMCs, was a practical one of being able to respond to the request.
Yeah. And for the next year, what do you see in the next year for the NCI?
Yes, so we're in the process of pulling together the final report based on the data. And as you can imagine, with the depth of data we have to be very sure that when we produce the final report, it is substantial and as accurate as the data allows. I would hope, with the help of the task force, to do a very similar methodology next year. That next year we ask again of each of the IMCs their perspective on the dynamics of their market, the structure and changes in the market, as well as the understanding of size of the market. So we be able to build a richer pattern. And no surprises that I think we've got, you can see probably conflicting challenges for many IMCs, that many IMCs are recovering post-pandemic, post-COVID. Many IMCs see their markets benefiting from the shifts to digitization and with technology driving a lot of consulting. But on the other hand, some IMCs are suffering because of geopolitical instability that's affecting their markets, and some are suffering because of currency and exchange rate issues. So there's an overall global pattern, but there's also a very much a country by country pattern. And that if we continue every year to build upon these data, it just strengthens the IMC's understanding of its own market for its members, for its talk to government and policymakers. But it also strengthens the position of the ICMCI as a global authority on our sector.
Simon, I don't know what to add. That brings it on the point. Thank you very much for the work of the task force and your contribution. I know it's a lot of work you're doing. And yeah, thank you. All the best for you and your team.
Now, and can I place a note of thanks also to Tamara and to Alan for their membership of the task force, and Kazema and Rima in ICMCI and the central function provided great administrative help and communication help, and also Robert to the board for endorsing and supporting this piece of work. Thank you. Great to see you.
Thank you.